Hi, welcome to Daily Dose of Anime Recaps. In this video, we'll be taking a look at episodes 11 through 14 of Season 2 of Swallowed Star. We're at the end of the century. A mysterious virus known as the RR virus appears in Earth's atmosphere, killing 2 billion people and mutating animals into monsters. In an attempt to destroy these monsters, the governments of the world used nuclear weapons. While the monsters survived, human civilization was all but wiped out. 5 nations survived and formed an alliance, providing shelter for humanity in large bases. Much like the animals of Earth, the humans have also gained powers, allowing some of them to become warriors, humanity's defenders against the monsters that plague the planet. Before we begin, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to be sure you don't miss the next episodes. Luo Feng is drowning and being electrocuted by the electric eel monsters wrapped around him. He uses his spirit energy to cut them up with his weapons and flies out of the water. Just as he's feeling relief at having survived and noting that he must avoid flying so close to the water rises up around him in a cyclone created by a powerful electric snake monster who waits at the bottom. His spirit powers are not strong enough to fly out of the cyclone, which is sucking him down towards its mouth. So instead, he uses his powers to bring his knives to his fist and powers downwards, slicing through the monster with his knife punch but not killing it. He's surprised by how durable it is, and then he grips his head as a mysterious monster begins making noise from under the lake. He decides to explore the lake area some more to see what mysteries it holds. We then cut to Li Yao flying across the lake's surface, vowing that Luo Feng will not survive through the day. Luo Feng comes across a mysterious island covered in fog, and as he reaches out his spirit senses, he's surprised to find nothing. His sense of unease grows and he touches the water, realizing he's unable to sense any of the water monsters, despite the fact that they are definitely there. Realizing this, as well as the fact that Li Yao will have to cross the lake to find him, he activates his watch so that Li Yao will find him, and he can ambush the more experienced warrior. Vanina is worried that it's a trap, and Li Yao tells her it is, but it doesn't matter, as with the Black God suit, Luo Feng will be unable to harm him. Just as Li Yao hangs up his call, he's attacked by a pack of powerful electric water monsters. Just as he prepares to fight them, a dark hole opens in the water, and some immensely powerful monster shoots tentacles out, dragging Li Yao under. Luo Feng, meanwhile, is meditating and wondering what's taking Li Yao so long to get there. He decides to go to the center of the island. Li Yao is tossed onto the shore by the monster, and as he crawls away, the tentacles come after him, only to stop and withdraw. He wonders why a monster of that power would retreat, theorizing that something on the island scared it. He rests against a rock and calls Vanina to confirm Luo Feng's location. Luo Feng receives a call from his brother, and they talk about how his brother's girlfriend can't see him. Luo Feng tells him that by year's end, he will have the water of life and will be able to walk, so he can be with his girlfriend. After the call, Luo Feng finds himself in a surprisingly lush jungle. He's attacked by plant monsters, and after defeating the plant monster, wonders how it got here, as it's not a native to this country. He's attacked by another plant monster, a golden willow. He can barely cut through a single vine from it, and it has dozens attacking him at once. He spins his knives like a drill and burrows underground, but its vines chase down after him. He eventually digs far enough to escape, and is happy to learn that his discovery will shock the world. This island is devoid of animal monsters because it's ruled by plant monsters. Li Yao finds the dead plant monster that Luo Feng killed and realizes he's getting close to catching Luo Feng. His eyes go wide with shock as he sees the golden willow that attacked Luo Feng. Luo Feng, hiding in his hole, decides he has to dig a new path out from underground in order to avoid the willow's attack, but hears a voice and realizes Li Yao is up above. Li Yao is on a call with Vanina, explaining to her that he has found a fortune, as there are more than 12 plant spirits here. The golden willow is known as a willow tree spirit, and the heart of a 1,000-year-old willow tree spirit can increase the physical strength of a warrior more than dragon's blood can. He estimates there is a 10,000 and 8,000-year-old willow spirit among the bunch, the hearts of which are proportionally more potent than a 1,000-year-old willow spirit heart. Vanina is overjoyed as, with that, Li Yao can ascend past a god of war, and they can be the most powerful people in the world. He admits that he likely cannot do it alone, and asks her to bring in more members of the Polonus family to help. One of them is a spirit master like Luo Feng. Feng. Luo Feng hears this and hides, debating whether to call for backup from the Marshall Hall or not. He decides to wait, as if the Marshall Hall members arrive before Li Yao's reinforcements. Li Yao will simply flee, and he will not have another chance to kill him. He decides to wait so that the Marshall Hall team and the Tell family arrive at the same time, and in the fight that will inevitably ensue, he'll have a chance to kill Li Yao. We then see the Paulinus family council call in 3 cloaked warriors, one of whom tosses a cigarette and uses spirit energy to catch it in an ashtray. He introduces his 2 best friends, Ivan, the world-famous warrior known as the Blood Sparrow, and Kaita, who has been nicknamed Bear. A soldier goes to take Bear's sword and almost collapses under the weight of it. They leave without any reinforcements, and the group talks about how Catalan, the spirit master, will probably be blinded by greed and take some of the plant hearts for himself. But the patriarch says that if Catalan had wanted to be patriarch, he could have taken the position 3 years ago. He goes on to explain that the Paulinus clan had such a high position in large part to Catalan's overwhelming power, and that any increase in strength Catalan has from plant hearts he steals will only benefit the clan. Meanwhile, Luo Feng has called in the Marshall Club, and one of the members freezes a horde of flying monsters with a snap of his fingers. They discuss the distribution of the plant spirit hearts, and the Ice Fingers warrior says he does not even need his share of the reward, as he's powerful enough without it. Luo Feng smiles to himself and prepares for battle as he senses that the Paulinus family has arrived. Luo Feng spies on them as Catalan asks Li Yao why he couldn't deal with the Willows alone, as they are not particularly good at attacking. But Li Yao explains that the King Willow is more powerful than the others, and he didn't want to risk it. Catalan then senses something that Luo Feng hides, hoping it's not him. It was actually an attacking plant monster, which Catalan deals with using his spirit-controlled sword. The Paulinuses discuss how to best handle the Willows, and Catalan tells Li Yao and his 2 friends to attack the tree next to the king and leave the king to him. Luo Feng is impressed that Catalan's spirit power is enough to control 14 swords simultaneously. He also notes that 3 of the 4 Paulinus warriors have black god suits. As Luo Feng watches Catalan fight the Willow, he notes that while Catalan's handheld sword strikes are significantly stronger than his own, his spirit-controlled sword strikes are weaker. Luo Feng wonders if Catalan's spirit power is actually any stronger than his own. Suddenly, Catalan strikes the King Willow and orders the others to attack the other Willow now that the king is subdued. As the 1,000-year-old Willow heart drops, Luo Feng makes his move, pulling it towards himself with his spirit powers. Catalan grabs it with his own spirit powers, and they begin a brief mental tug-of-war. Luo Feng tosses a bunch of trees at them and makes off with the heart. Enraged, Catalan picks up Li Yao with his spirit powers and prepares to kill him for not informing them that Luo Feng was not only on the island, but a spirit master as well. Luo Feng burrows deep underground to escape and accidentally tunnels into a cave and loses the heart as a river sweeps him away. Catalan releases Li Yao when he explains who Luo Feng is, because he realizes that if Luo Feng made that bold a move, it likely means he has called the Marshall Club for help. He orders them to get as many plant hearts as they can, so they can flee before the Marshall Club arrives. This angers Li Yao, who quietly seethes. Luo Feng explores the underground cave, remarking that the current of the river is unusual, and there are no monster carcasses or bad smells. He sits and decides if he should report the Willow Heart to the Marshall Club, as he's supposed to, which would alert the Paulinuses to his location, or if he should use it on himself and hope the boost is enough to defeat them. He uses his watch to look up how to use a Willow Heart. He uses it on himself and feels his mental and physical strength both increase at a remarkable rate. He is now a peak War God Spirit Master. He flies off to kill Li Yao, confident he'll be able to take the Paulinus warriors on with his newfound abilities. He sees them as they're fighting the Willows and watches them to gauge their abilities as they kill the King Willow and begin to search for the 10,000-year-old heart. Luo Feng casually walks out of the brush, not bothering with stealth anymore. He battles all 4 of them at once and manages to defeat all 4 without them landing even a single hit on him. He picks up the 10,000-year-old Willow Heart. Li Yao flees as the rest of his team hold back, and Luo Feng pursues, pounding away at him with blows that would kill him without his black god suit. Li Yao seems to have some kind of plan in mind, as he uses the impact of Luo Feng's attacks to put some distance between them. Luo Feng is hit with a tentacle, as he realizes Li Yao had been luring him into the clutches of the tentacle monster from earlier. Luo Feng evades the tentacle monster danger, but Li Yao escapes and manages to hide where Luo Feng cannot find him, as he calls someone he refers to as her. Luo Feng circles back and finds the rest of the Pollinuses gathering the plant spirit hearts. They run in 3 different directions, and Luo Feng stops Bear, as he's the only one without a black god suit. Bear surrenders and gives him the heart without a fight. Luo Feng lets him go, and as he flees, Bear tells him next time he's in the War God Council, drinks are on him. As Luo Feng scans the island with spirit energy for Li Yao, a fireball appears in the sky. The Pollinus warriors rush to it, exclaiming that if she is here, everything has changed. A woman wreathed in white flames sits on a flying throne, and the Pollinuses say her name with reverence, Elder Fa Er. She snaps her fingers and the patch of earth they are standing on splits off from the island and levitates towards her. She asks them if he took the 10,000-year-old willow heart. They tell her he stole 3 more 1,000-year-old willow hearts from them, and she orders him in a bored voice to hand them over, addressing Luo Feng as boy. Blocking trees, he launches at her with a snap of her fingers and a fireball. She sends him flying and then rains fire down on him as they trade blows. Luo Feng is clearly losing. Li Yao is pleased, noting that Elder Fa Er's fists surpass war god level, and she can control fire, so surely Luo Feng will die. She summons a pillar of fire to burn Luo Feng, but he burrows underground to avoid it. He comes up behind her, and they fight some more, and she is clearly toying with him, each of her blows causing him great pain. He pretends to give her the willow heart, but sneak attacks her with his knives. She deflects them both, but in doing so, she lets go of him, and he flies away with the heart as she pursues. As Luo Feng pulls away, Catalan explains to the others that while Elder Fa Er can run extremely fast on land, she has a limited flight speed, since she has nothing to push off of with her legs. As they fly, a ship passes by Elder Fa Er, and she makes eye contact with the Ice Warrior, who is sipping a chilled drink in the ship. The Ice Warrior turns out to be escorted by none other than Inspector Zhu Shi. They debate over who has the right to the island's resources, and Elder Fa Er suggests a fight. Whoever wins the fight gets the island's resources. Inspector Zhu Shi agrees, but says it's only fair that he and her stay out of it. He also orders Luo Feng to stay out of it. Luo Feng says that he's worried as they have 4 powerful war gods, but Zhu Shi assures him the Ice Warrior is more than a match for them.